When the schedule for the road to the World Championship was released, one schedule, one race stood out to drivers. It was the trip to upstate New York for the super speedway style race that we're about to see at Watkins Glen in the classic configuration. Welcome to the 2022 Porsche Tag Heuer Esports Supercup qualifying series and the road to the World Championship. Already 3 races are done in this qualifying series and 3 names have begun to emerge at the front of the pack. Of course, there is still a long way to go, with drop weeks going to factor in as well. We'll see exactly how crazy this race is going to be. Hello everyone, welcome to RaceSpotTV. My name is Arjuna Kankipati, by myself for the ride today, but I cannot wait for the chaos that we are going to see. What a season it's been so far. Familiar venues, but unfamiliar layouts. That's been the story of what the challenges that drivers have been thrown at. It started at the Hockenheim ring when we took the hard right midway through the straight and a slightly different sort of a hairpin. Then at Silverstone, the international layout. It was a fascinating battle there. Lasse back able to convert pole position to the victory this time around, unlike what happened at Hockenheim when Luke Bennett was able to steal the lead on the run into turn number 1 and did not look back after that. The Red Bull Ring, it's fair to say, was quite chaotic, and emerging through some of the chaos with drivers getting some good points onto the boards. Halfway through the qualifying series, still 3 races left to go. Next up, it's to the Nürburgring, to the sprint layout there. Not one we traditionally see here on iRacing, and the only normal sort of a race is our visit over to Imola and the full Grand Prix loop where anti-cut curbs might prove to be crucial. So that's the road that some of these drivers are going on, but it doesn't end after these 6 races. Of course, the top 15 from the 2022 Porsche Esports Supercup retained eligibility for 2023, of course, highlighted by our champion Diogo Pinto from Team Redline. Drivers that finish 16th through 30th will fight in the Contender Series later on this fall on the iRacing Esports network, while positions 31 through 35 were dropped to the bottom of the rung and forced to fight in the World Championship qualifying series, along with those hungry to stamp their mark on the iRacing history books. Out of this qualifying series, 15 contenders will emerge to fight with those other 15 drivers already locked into the Contender Series to make just 30 drivers on the grid for the World Championship, with 15 rising from the Contender Series. Of course, spots in the World Championship have been on the down lately. We started with 40 a couple of years ago, 35 this year, 30 for 2023. The cutoff then for the Contender Series is starting to look quite fascinating, with Jacob Toft and Elvis Rankin split by just 6 points, but Kevin Nielsen has been on a roll after winning last time out for the Fire Sim Sport team. He now inherits the points lead, looking quite comfortably clear, almost 400 clear of the battle on the cutoff right now. Of course, still with the drop weeks to factor in, it's hard to figure out exactly how it's going to play out and shake out when we get to the end of this series, but staying out of trouble, as always, will be paramount. Making sure you're in the right positions at the right time at this bull ring of a track will be paramount. So let's talk about Watkins Glen International and its classic configuration. This is going to be like an NASCAR stock car style race. It will be our Talladega. You can see hugging the right, shortcutting back to the regular rejoin of the boot. It is just 6 corners in length. 6 corners meaning that, especially in qualifying, margins are going to be even tighter when there are so few corners to make a mistake. And would it shock you to see that the front 2 rows split by just about 1/10 of a second as it runs right now? Still half the qualifying time left to play. Gustavo Ariel, Luke Bennett currently still on the front rows of the grid. Oskari Rene, we just saw him come across the line. He punches his way to the front row of the grid momentarily. Times are coming in thick and fast. We're in for a treat here if qualifying is anything to go by. Now we watch as Valtteri Lander will come across the line in his Kova Esports car. Sitting well in the points, but 21st and 3/10 off the pace for the Flying Finn. It is going to be this fiery Italian, this spicy Simona Maria Marcheno that will lock in provisional pole with a 106.570. About 300ths quicker than Gustavo Ariel in the full-time esports by TK Machine. Mandanaki Stoke back, row 2 as it stands right now. Marcheno done with his qualifying attempts. We see another one of the R8G contingent joining the fight today. This is Przemysław Leminek of Team R8G. He's one of two drivers yet to put a time on the board. He is working the first of what is two qualifying attempts. David Boschke, the other machine in the Williams Esports Academy car, yet to punch in a time. 25 other cars have already locked themselves in with qualifying attempts. Lemonette runs a little bit wide. Of course, already having missed the first half of the season, Lemonette not one fighting for a World Championship license, but here to have some fun, here to support his teammates, Andre Melcher's Mandanok, the two R8G machines that we've seen over the course of the qualifying series. Into the final corner. Rolls the momentum through nice and tidy, not pushing the bounds of the track too much. Come across the line and punch in what will be his lap time. So left side of the screen, you can see the delta. It's a tenth of a second that splits 9 cars. Luke Bennett won week 1. He's back in 9th. Kevin Nielsen, our points leader, back in 10th. I think it's fair to say they are, to quote Sir Townsend Bell, in the danger zone. On board with Lemonette. Run through this outer loop. You carry all the speed out of the S's. It's about 100 feet of elevation from the bottom of that climb to the top of the outer loop. Can use all the runoff. Going to be crucial in the race to jockey for position. Make sure you don't get run out of room onto the grass. And then the penultimate corner. You can run wide, but it will compromise you into the very final turn, where it's all about just building momentum on the run to turn 1, where it plunges downhill. It is a passing opportunity down into the 90. Lemonette will be the last car across the line. Qualifying session will be in the books. He'll line up in 26th position, but all the cars are done in this qualifying session. It's time to run you down through the starting grid for round 4 of the 2022 Porsche Tag Heuer Esports Supercup qualifying series. It's another race with a different pole position winner. This time it will be Simone Maria Marcheno for Altus Esports that punches his way to the front of the grid alongside the full-time esports by TK entry of Gustavo Ariel. Valentin Mandanok and Matthias Stokeback row 2, while the Rincon Racing car 1 Blainert lines up inside of the Flying Fin in Oskari Rene, the first of the Kova machines. Lasse back slots in inside of row 4 with Alexei Nessoff alongside. Luke Bennett inside of Kevin Nielsen, the points leader, rounding out the top 10. Andre Melcher struggled last time, needs to get some points on the board. He'll start 11th with Moritz Lohner in 12th after a good result at the Red Bull Ring. Looking for some more points on the board, Dylan Burst, Matthias Jensen, row number 7. From 15th, Michael Yanni will roll in the Apex Racing Academy number 23. Nicholas Laubish in the Urano 22 to his right-hand side. Ganoso Tazdelen in the Anatolia number 16 machine, 17th. Lauren Benzo alongside. Kake Oliveira has had 2 consecutive weeks of lap 1 incidents. Can he survive the chaos this time? He'll line up alongside Luca Kita with David Bosco, Damon Woods, 21st and 22nd. Point out Luca Kita looking good in points, 20th, not where he will want to be. Alexander Laritzin has landed up with SRC Movano Corsa. He's 23rd with Oscar Mangan to his right-hand side after joining up with Altus Esports. Alander Lemonek Johansson will complete the field of cars, getting ready to go racing in upstate New York. This, of course, a venue that has hosted Formula One for many an occasion. It is now an endurance racing staple. Today, it's a Porsche qualifying series host. Already a good start from the front of the field. Marcheno, couple of cars jockeying down into turn number 1, blocking all the way to the wall. Ariel will hold second, slots into line. As we build up, we climb in towards the S's and the run to the outer loop. Draft going to be crucial now as drivers jockey for what is crucial, track position. Marcheno will see the field streaking in his rearview mirror. Can he defend? Which line will he choose to cover? He'll go to the inside. The field follows him. No snake forming like it would be at Indianapolis. It's the Fire Sim Sport cars. The first to tuck to the left-hand side. Single file inside of the top 7. A nice and tidy start with all 24 cars still up and going. They shortcut right. They run themselves all the way off the road. The first of 22 laps is half complete without any sort of drama. Listen to the roar of the engines. Feel the tension inside of the cockpit. Bit of a wiggle there. Believe for Alexei Nesov. Wrangles it into control just about. Almost though, the field in chaos. There is the checkup though. There's the look to the inside from Lasse back as they jockey into turn number 1 for the second time. Almost 3 wide. Nielsen looks to the inside of Melchers. Absolute chaos outside of the top 10. It's enabling those at the front to start building up the rhythm, maintain the momentum, and try and pull away from those still embroiled in the battles in the mid-pack. What a fight it is. It's closing for the lead though. Ariel goes to the outside. Marcheno swarmed. Tires now up to temperature. Will it be a pass for the lead? Will Marcheno be swarmed and drop to second? He'll fight to the inside. Ariel squeezes all the way to the curbing. But it's a great battle. Great respect shown on both sides. Marcheno holds for now. Still trying to fight though to the penultimate corner. Ariel will be allowed to go to the lead. Marcheno knows discretion the better part of valor. So now how do you plan this race out? 20 laps still to go. Move there. Thrown to the inside of turn 1. Juan Blainart, I think, behind him. Nessoff and back side by side. Will it compromise them up through the 90? Back slots in. Grab the draft once more. Marcheno now dropped to second. Does he go immediately back on the offense? Chops the nose off of Mandenark. Oh, and now Rex Mandenark. Marcheno throws the block. Mandenark in the wall, chaos ensues. It's Stokeback that goes up to second, throws it to the inside, takes advantage of the chaos, and Stokeback trying to go for yet another podium, rips second away from Marcheno. They got to be careful as they rejoin the track over the curb. Quite easy to compromise the car. Mandenark's car is ruined. That's his race done. We'll pull it down to pit lane. We saw David Bosga losing track of the pack towards the back end of the field. He's one car as well, other than Mandenark, to have experienced some troubles. And as much as I am a fan of the feisty Italian, I think I place 100% of the blame on him for that one. We'll grab a replay when we can. For now, we focus though on again the climb up the hill and again the tense moments that will ensue as drivers try to figure out where they want to go. There's a move from one of the Urano cars further back. Ariel not allowing Jensen to have a look. Lemonek and Benzo, the Monaco Esports and R8G entries, 20th and 21st. They fight side by side. Behind them, of course, the newest member of Altus Esports, Oscar Mangan. Mangan, who is sitting comfortably within the top 20 in points, maybe hoping for a little bit more attrition at the front of the field. Hasn't seemed to have developed just yet, but time will see. And for Mandenark, you feel, while his teammate Melchers experienced the hardships last time, this time it's Mandenark who, as soon as we get a replay, we'll be able to figure out if he was culpable or not. We'll put it that way. Again, though, they'll build the momentum up the hill. Nessoff has a good run on the back of the Rincon Racing entry, the 25 of Blainard. One of the final cars to squeak into this split. Jensen, Stokeback, at the front, not going for it. It will be Rene who goes to the left side of the track to cover off the attempt of Blainard to sweep around the outside. Look how close to the edge of the track they get. They are really flirting with disaster if they run too wide. They are side by side for a moment, with Melchers and Lohner running just amidst the top 10. Going wheel to wheel for a moment. We look backwards from the number 3 RAG car of Melchers. Hear him hitting the limiter as they run into turn number 1. Pass for 5th. Blainard makes a mistake, or was he escorted wide. It doesn't matter. We'll lose out not just to Nessoff, back as well. Bennett trying to go to the inside as they run up through the S's. Rincon Racing, number 25, still bleeding as Nielsen becomes the next to try and challenge him. He loses out, gives the momentum though to Melchers, who will poke to the outside of the track. My word. What a different type of a race this is compared to what these drivers will go through if they make it to the World Championship. Oh my word, almost a wreck there. Melchers, Nielsen, Lohner, Jensen. You don't want to take your eyes off of the fighting, but let's take a look at what happened then for poor Mandenok if we can. You can just see the... we're going to have to grab a couple more looks at it, I think. As much as I want to focus on what's actually happening, it's rather difficult to tell. We'll need, if we can, to grab the look from up above. That doesn't tell us if Marcheno clears himself or not. This will be the determining angle. So Marcheno jinks right. Melchers is there. Still, I'll place the blame on Marcheno, but the overlap was minuscule. I can understand why he maybe thought the door was closed. Almost a door open there for Lohner to try and get past Nielsen. The points leader will be just thinking about consolidation. Getting points on the board. Pass for the lead may be forthcoming. Stokeback pops himself to the left. Working lap 7 of 22. 27 started, 1 has retired. Mandenok, our only victim so far. Up and under from the Apex Racing Academy car. Doesn't get the run. Ariel will cover him off. Some of the differences that we've been discussing over the course of the previous 3 rounds of the qualifying series have come to do with the way that these races work. It's a 30-minute sprint, no endurance, no invert that will play a factor in it, but in the contender series, in the World Championship, it will be a sprint race with a top 8 invert after that leads to a longer feature race. How does that change your mindset? Especially if you go to Le Mans, where the racing is actually quite similar to this. Blainard and Bennett will run side by side, losing track of Nessoff in front of them. Valtteri Alander has towed it back to pit lane. He's had some struggles. Melcher's now getting a push from Kevin Nielsen. This is proper Daytona-style racing as they again go in towards the outer loop. Nielsen almost chopped himself off there, tried to slot into line, but Bennett was there, Melchers was there as well. A look from up above. Single file now within the top 10. It's Jensen and Burs and Yanni, the ones who are fighting a little bit more. Again stacked up, 2 seconds, splits 10 cars. Defense offered by a Vendaval Sim Racing Machine. That's Dylan Burs, the number 15. Yanni will go to the outside, in towards the outer loop. A brave place to get it done, and a bit of chaos. Stokeback has dropped to 5th. Now, what has gone on? How has Stokeback lost out in short order? Right now, he focuses on looking forward, though. Bennett's been working quietly, trying to get in towards the top 5. He's looking to work past Melchers. Stokeback will hold station for the time being. Pick up what happened to the Apex Racing Academy car, so he's right on the bumper, and 2 moves attempted. Rene and Nessoff took it 3 wide. Heads up awareness from Stokeback in that 12 car. That was what he needed to do, knowing what points are on offer right now. For a young driver like Stokeback, that is the awareness you want to see. Ticking to lap 10 of 22. About 15 odd minutes left in this race. And what a different type of a race it is. On board with Andre Melchers as he begins the climb. 100 feet of elevation change from the bottom of the 90 all the way to the outer loop. Behind Melchers, Laubish Burs. They're battling side by side. Yanni trying to find a way through as well. 3 cars pushing each other on the inside, fighting for the lead as well. Ariel holds off Marcheno. for the time being. And a spinner, Melcher's around. Through the outer loop, Andre Melchers, potentially assisted, is able to get it back onto terra firma. Aggressive defense thrown by Yanni to the penultimate corner. It is chaotic madness here. Woods, Tasdellen run all the way off the track at the penultimate corner. Where do you even look? Wrecking through the final turn. It's Burse who's pushed up into the wall. The Australian, the young Australian, will lose out. Lemonek, though, unable to find a way through, as now Nessoff and Stokeback fight up through the S's. Now 2 REG cars in swift order halfway through this race, staring down the barrel of minimum points out of Watkins Glen. How aggressive are cars outside of the podium spots going to be? We'll find out with Stokeback tucked up outside of Lasseback, as it seems we're on course for a 4th winner in 4 races. Contact there. Jensen and Back came together. They hold on, they survive. Now Bennett and Stokeback fighting alongside. Behind them, Blainart Nielsen also door to door. Oh, and a car into the wall. It's Blainart. There's not even time to gather your breath. There's not even time to go look at replays. Damage now to Kevin Nielsen. Paint missing from the left door of his 992 Cup car. So Ariel from Marcheno, Rene, Nessoff back the top 5 as they look to go again. Rene to the outside. Will get Marcheno if he commits. Gotta mind the tires. Even in a race like this, you slide them too much, throw too much load, you will end up in trouble. Let's go pick up what happened to Andre Melchers then, the 2nd RAG car to come into strife. Is there plenty of action in front of him? Being pinched. Oh, he loses it by himself. That's right on board with the number 3. Oh no, there is a bit of contact. It's almost like he gets hooked with the red line car. I would say racing incident just based on that. Now there is plenty more that we want to go and try and take a look at. It will take some time to spool it all up, so bear with us. We will get it figured out. Let's start by picking up what happened to Blainart as Nielsen and Jensen fight up through the S's. Oh, just a bit of door bump banging there. That's why Nielsen's left side is missing the paint. Blainart the one to lose out as Marcheno will go for the lead. Ariel with a bit of a wiggle. Marcheno sent out of the groove. Opened the door for Rene to slide to the inside. Here comes the Cova number 17. As they battle to the penultimate corner, 2 wide, almost 3 rows deep. Ariel gives the block to Rene. Marcheno still trying to hang on to 3rd. What a battle this is. A ding-dong brawl in upstate New York. Drivers fighting for the right to be Porsche contenders later on this fall. Bennett to the inside on the run into the 90. Nessoff was compromised through turn 1, able to hold off Back for the time being. Ride with Luke Bennett. See the craziness that emerges in front of him. Ariel bobbing left and right. Rene and Marcheno jockeying for 2nd. Halfway through this race, it is starting to get a little bit more physical. Are we pushing the limits of racing? Kita has been able to work himself up 7 spots in the Urano Esports number 6, now fights with Kake Oliveira in the 13 Oak Racing Team car. Oliveira in front for 13th, Yanni Laubish. They fight into the final corner. Good run out of that Sweeper for Laubish in the 22. Lohner looks for a move in front. Back and Bennett also fighting side by side. No matter where you look, there is racing. And like some have pointed out in the YouTube chat, the allowance these drivers are allowed with runoff is part of the reason why it is so intense. From up above again, Rene pushing Ariel into the outer loop. Now will duck out. Marcheno with the momentum bails from a potential move. Still thinks about going to the inside because Rene left the door wide open. Marcheno might get it done. Still jockeying the two of them. And Marcheno, for not the first time, backs out on the outside line. Behind him, Stokeback, I think, pushed wide, will compromise. Lohner may try the switch up through the final corner. My, oh my, what a crazy race we still have in store for us. Lohner will use the outside runoff to build off of the 90. Might get a bump as well from Nielsen. Contact between Lohner and the Apex Racing Academy car. He gets turned by Kevin Nielsen, and that's going to be a track blocker if they're not careful. Matthias Jensen slips back and forth. He holds onto his car. Lohner's stranded, but not hit by anyone. How do we survive through that? But for Moritz Lohner, one moment may just have robbed him from the chance of fighting as a contender. Nielsen has got damage. He runs wide. So does Laubish. Insanity. And it's not like the craziness has been isolated to any particular area of the track. It's been frantic at the front. It's been hectic at the back. Nielsen onto pit road. He has a black flag for the incident limit. Too much contact, too much abuse potentially of track limits. An automated system brings Nielsen to pit road. It's replay time. We'll try and pick up what happened with Lohner, because it preceded a little bit more contact. They fight into the outer loop for third position. We'll come back to that replay in a couple of moments' time. Almost 3 wide off the corner. So it's Ariel from Rene, Nessov now in front of Marcheno, again relegated to the outside line into the penultimate corner, with back Bennett, Stokeback, Yanni, Kita, Mangan, the top 10. Great day for the likes of Kita and Mangan, who have been quietly assertive, taking advantage of the chaos to work forward. 11 spots gained for Kita, 14 for Mangan. Tasdalen in front of Melchers, 15th and 16th spots. 5 to go here in upstate New York. With 2 rounds left after this, how many drivers expected this to be their drop week in this championship qualifying series? Of course, we're coming off the iRacing Off-Road Championship Showdown, where Connor Barry became champion #1 in the Off-Road Championship Series. What a season it was. These drivers may have seen some of that, have seen the 4 years of the Esports Supercup that we've had so far, have wanted to join the ranks of Pinto, Rogers, and Job as world champions. These 6 races are just step 1 on the ladder on the road up. They'll come across the line and make it 4 to go. Let's see what happened again to Lohner. Let's pick this one apart. It starts through the first part. Stokeback thought there was no overlap. There was the tiniest bit. And from there, Lohner basically attached at the hip to Nielsen, who spins him around. Matthias Jensen flipping back and forth in the VG Racing Esports car. Lohner takes the damage. Lohner's the one that pays the price. So 4 to go. How many incident points the drivers have left to play with? We've already seen Nielsen dinged for the incident limit. Has Nessoff been quietly biding his time? +6 now works for second. Earned the ire of his competitors this past week, did Alexei Nessoff, but if he gets the points on the board, it won't matter, it will flow over like water. Rene will give it up. Nessoff now secures second. Ariel has been imposing his will at the front with the blocks. Has not looked in any danger of being passed. Still a breakaway of 7 cars though, split by 1 second. Who's been the smartest? Who's been the wiliest? Where are the tires? Where are the incident points? 3 to go. 3 opportunities to slingshot through the 90 and climb up through the S's. Nessoff thinks about it, maybe covering from Rene as they push themselves into contention. It's Ariel versus Nessoff for the lead. Nessoff going to maybe try and cut back and get the run out of the corner, but that would relegate him to the outside of turn 5. Back runs very wide through the corner. Has to cover off the move potentially from Luke Bennett in that red line number 5. Bennett, who scored victory in round 1. We haven't seen him since then. A move thrown from Stoke back to the inside of Bennett. And now it seems like we're at Indy. Back and forth they go. The snake begins to form. A little bit tighter through the corner is Alexei Nessoff. The Urano Esports driver winds up through the S's. This is where Nessoff claimed the SCO Endurance Championship in a Porsche 911 GT3R just a couple of months ago. Now looks to build to a World Championship license. No change in the top 4. Lasse back trying to find the run that will see him slot into the top 4 spots. White flag in hand. With about 2 miles left to play, what craziness does upstate New York still have in store for us? We're about to find out. Ariel leads from Nessoff and Rene. The fight for the win comes down to this. It's Bennett who tries to cover off Stoke back. He looks to the outside. Door banging there. The Apex Academy car gets the worst of it. Nessoff very wide though through turn 1. Who gets the best run up through the corner? Oscari Rene has the double toe. Sees Nessoff go first. Will he make it 3 wide? Does he look to go to the inside? Rene doesn't overcommit. Fight smart, knowing points are more important than the victory. Nessoff backs out of it as well through the outer loop. Has Gustavo Ariel controlled the tempo of this race? Is Gustavo Ariel 2 corners away from victory? No move offered, but Ariel gets a moment. Contact between Nessoff and Rene. Rene gets sent wide. Marcello fires it up the inside, but at the front of the field, taking victory in Watkins Glen, surviving the chaos, it's Gustavo Ariel winning in the 2022 Porsche Tag Heuer Esports Supercup qualifying series. You can tell intensity was high, the tempers boiled all the way to the checkered and then into turn number 1 as well. Ariel leads from Marcello back, Nessoff and Rene, the top 5. The margin of victory 6/10, but that does not tell the story. The story was survival. The story was chaos. The full-time esports by TK Car got on the road to the World Championship at the Hockenheim Ring with a stumble. But today at Watkins Glen, Gustavo Ariel stands tall, victorious in the qualifying series. For Ascari Rene, he might feel a little aggrieved, but it was all that one bobble of Gustavo Ariel that caused the chaos that some chose to pounce on. For Lasse back as well, let's give him his plaudits. Minded the time until it was right, and from there, elected to run himself all the way into the podium spot. Before we take a look at the race results, let's grab a final look at those final moments of the race. You see Ariel has the moment. Nessoff goes to the outside. Rene's already almost off the track. He gets pushed wide, and behind Ariel, a drag race to the line. Marcheno in front of back, but only a 100th of a second split Nessoff from the podium spots. And then the post-checkered contact. Questions will be asked about the entirety of the race, not just those final moments. You best believe that. What a day it was, though. What a race it was. Chaos was what was expected. Chaos was delivered. For 22 laps in Watkins Glen, it was Gustavo Ariel that endured. The full-time esports by TK Machine will come across the line to put points on the way to the World Championship. Simona Maria Marcheno bounces back from a couple of weeks of struggles to go second in front of Lasse Back, who now will get more points for the RaceSpotTV team. Alexei Nessoff returns to the series, finishes in fourth in front of Ascari Rene, who just best Luke Bennett by 0.003 of a second. There were some photo finishes. The cameras were required. Stoke back 7th for the Apex Racing Academy team, down 3 from where he started. Will be slightly disappointed after running up in 2nd, while Luca Keto, one of the biggest movers, plus 12 for him. Michael Yanni, the 23 car, across the line in 9th. Oscar Mangan, on debut for Altus Esports, 14 spots gained into the top 10. Kake Oliveira able to survive, able to finish in 11th for the Oak Racing team, in front of Juan Blainart, who had an eventful race for the Rincon Racing 25 car. Lauren Benzo in the Monaco Esports 18 finishes in front of the damaged Damon Woods Vendaval Sim Racing entry. For Andre Melchers, yet another week of disappointing results. Tasdelen, Bosca, Johansson, Loritzen, and Jensen make up the rest of the top 20, all making it to the checkered flag. Unlike the likes of Moritz Lohner, who had to come down pit lane, finishes 1 lap down. Kevin Nielsen, the points leader coming into this race, finishes down in 22nd. Mandanak was in the top 5, he finishes 23rd, with Laubish, Burst, Lemonik, and Alander. A notable absence from the top 20, even the top 10 of the results. For Kova, that 27 will be quite frustrated after squeaking into the top split. What a race it was as we gather our breaths, as the drivers gather their thoughts. Hopefully, we get the chance to chat with a couple of them here live on RaceSpotTV before we wrap up our coverage here from Watkins Glen, and what an eventful day it was. It could not have got more physical at times. It was the start that really set the precedent for some drivers as they got off on the right foot. For others, just the sign of things that were to come. And of course, after this, just 2 rounds are left, and the tour of unfamiliar layouts of familiar venues will continue. Next time up, we head into the Eiffel Mountain, unfortunately not to use the Green Hell and all 22 miles, or 22 kilometers of pure driving joy. Instead, we use the sprint Strecker. We use a slightly shortened first sector of the lap, cut back after the Schumacher S, a layout that really not many of these drivers will have experience with. RaceSpotTV, we've seen it here before, the VRS SEO Sprint Masters and Sprint Challenge last summer, but by no means is it a venue which drivers will understand how it's going to race. Remember, 2 races left, of course. 7 days from now, August 20th, 6:45 p.m. UTC. It's going to be interesting. It's not going to be the same sort of race as we had today, that is for sure. It is going to be a little bit more calculated. It is going to be about qualifying, making sure you are where you need to be come the start of the race. Passing might just be at a minimum. So that's going to be fascinating. And then end of August 27th, we head to Imola, the only regular layout of the season, the Grand Prix layout, and its anti-cut curbs and some of the track limits will be very different to the challenge endured by the drivers here today. Unfortunately, it does not appear as though we're going to get the chance to chat with any of your contenders. But on the road to the World Championship, some have built more points onto the board. 2 races from now, 15 will rise as Porsche contenders, but in the 4 races that we've seen here on RaceSpotTV in the 2022 Porsche Tag Core Esports Supercup qualifying series, 4 different winners have emerged. From the chaos of Watkins Glen, we'll go to the calm, potentially, of the Eiffel Mountain. Join us next Saturday on RaceSpotTV for all the action. On behalf of everyone, though, at RaceSpotTV, for myself, Arjuna Kangipati, delighted to have your company in upstate New York for this jaunt that we've had. It felt sometimes like a Royal Rumble. It was Gustavo Ariel that endured all, that survived to be crowned the winner in Watkins Glen. We'll see you in the Eiffel Mountains. For now, so long and goodbye.